the most tremendous new musical experience you can have.
Alright, what's up y'all? It's Logan, and I'm here bringing you this review to this newest EP by Mick Jenkins called Circus. Now for those of you who don't know who Mick Jenkins is, he is one of my personal favorite artists that's out right now. Absolutely love his older project, The Waters. I was actually just listening to that earlier today. Followed that up with Waves, which wasn't quite as good, but still good. Then THC, The Healing Component. That was a great album. And then, of course, 2018, he made my top 5 with Pieces of a Man. I thought that was a great project. Had a lot of depth. And he usually comes out with these, I don't want to say lengthy album. They're usually 50 minutes to an hour long, so they're not lengthy. They're average length for an album, but he usually comes out with these albums that are like concept pieces, talking a lot of depth, a lot of personal growth, a lot of just seeing what you are, who you are, and what's good for you. He definitely talks a lot about water and how water's good for you. You know, his slogan probably I would say is drink more water. I love that about him. He just tries to bring out the best in people a lot, and he is a really deep rapper. He kind of fits more into that mold of like the slower, kind of want to say smoking music, I guess you could call it. Just really deep stuff, slower tones, a little bit easier vibes to listen to. Not really upbeat, not really getting in your face. Definitely no trap sounds in there. And that's just what you can come to expect from him. And like I said, he's one of my favorites. So seeing that this was coming out, I was really excited. This project is only about 20 minutes long, 7 tracks. It's very easy to listen through a couple of times. And I'll say this was very fun. It's different from some of the stuff he's put out because obviously you can't go very in depth and have a huge overarching message for just a 20-minute 7-track album or EP, I guess. And so it was interesting to see him do that. Now, that being said, does it match up to the rest of his discography? I guess that's what we're here to find out. So I'm going to do just a quick track-by-track analysis, being that it is only 7 tracks long. So the first track is Same Ol', and here he's coming with a little bit more of an upbeat sound compared to what he normally does. Now, that being said, he does have some songs that are a little bit more upbeat. But like I said, the majority of his sound is that slower kind of smoking songs vibe. But here he's a lot more upbeat. It's very fun, faster flow, especially for him because he usually does go a little bit slower. And he's just talking about how things really don't change in the game, how things have stayed the same, you know, same old. So it's a good track. I very much enjoyed it as the intro track. Following that up is Carefree, which has a very normal vibe for him. Good beat selection. He usually has really good beat selection, although sometimes it can get a little boring. But I will say on this album, that doesn't come off as a problem. Alright, so let's see. Other than that, we also have the song Flaunt. Again, that falls more into the fun, upbeat sound, where he's just talking about how people want him to show off, flaunt what he's got. So yeah, that's another enjoyable track. Not a lot of depth to it, considering it is a Mick Jenkins track, but nonetheless, still a good track. Then The Fit, that's another one that's right in his wheelhouse. Not too much to say about that. Just again, right there in the sound and the vibe. And again, not too much being said on here, when considering it is Mick Jenkins, but still good lyricism and all that. Same thing with Different Scales. I'm Convinced is a little bit more upbeat. But still generally a normal sound, you know, whenever you consider an upbeat Mick Jenkins song, that is one you would think of. And then finally, the last track I really want to mention here, I know I just flew through all that, because again, there's not too much to unpack, 7 tracks, and there's not a lot of depth to this one. The song The Light, which features Earth Gang. Now with this one is again right in his wheelhouse, a little really mellow sounding track. It's more mellow than what you often hear from Earth Gang. Of course, they do have more softer tracks, but I know a lot of the time you think of them, you think more upbeat, like Tequila, their song, or Bank, or something like that. But here they're a little bit, they lean more into their mellow sounding side, which works very well, of course, in conjunction with Mick, and it works well for them. It's a very good track. And I very much enjoyed that one, very much enjoyed the feature, especially it being the only feature on this project. Now, having gone through all the tracks, do I actually like the project? Yes, I do. I think it is very interesting to see how he goes from having 50 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes, but usually 50 minutes, an hour, a little bit over an hour long albums with really in-depth messages being sent on every single song, and then an overarching message all the way through. But here, again, it's focused, but it's not focused at the same time. It's focused in the sense that it has a consistent sound. I know he does dabble with a couple different sounds, but overall it sounds like it's all one project. It sounds like it all fits together, but not a huge overarching message, nothing like that. Still good lyricism on the tracks, but nothing to dive deeper into. It's very if you listen to the track and you actually try to listen to it, you can pick up on what he's saying. It's not like you need a full paper written about what this project means. It's very fun to listen to, and for a 7-track EP, I'm not going to complain that Mick hit us with this stuff. Now, if he had done this for, say, 15, 20 tracks and called this an album, I'd say, okay, this was his worst album because it just doesn't have that depth that it usually does. But being that this was 7 tracks, just to hold us over until his next thing comes out, just to have a little bit of fun with, just to please the fans, I am very happy with this one. I thought he did exactly what he needed to do. Like I said, not as good as a normal project, being that we don't get the message, we don't get more depth in it, but what he says is still, deep enough for a 7-track EP. There aren't enough flaws on here because there is a plus and minus with these 7 tracks. You can give them a break for not having as much of a message because generally speaking they're not supposed to, but at the same time if there are flaws they stick out more because there's less to make up for them. But on here there's not enough flaws to really knock it down. It's just overall a very solid project that I very much enjoyed. I will be going back to. It's an easy listen. I would recommend checking this one out if you are a Mick Jenkins fan. My rating for Mick Jenkins The Circus, I have to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Like I said, very enjoyable, but not too much depth into it to give it a higher rating. If you like Mick, you will like this one. If you don't like Mick, this isn't going to be the thing that convinces you, most likely. Unless if you like some of his stuff that's more upbeat and more just not focused on a message. But if you're listening to Mick Jenkins, that's not the reason you're going to be listening to Mick Jenkins. You're going to listen. Most people like him because of that. But like I said, if you like him, you will still like this project, although it's a little bit different. If you don't like him, this might not convince you, even though it is a slightly different sound from him. But overall, very solid project. I would recommend checking it out. That being said, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, comment with your thoughts on this project, or if there's anything else you want me to check out. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell next to my name for notifications, share the video so your friends can see it and we can increase my following here, get even more to talk about. Appreciate y'all watching, and I'll be hitting y'all up later this week with another review. See y'all later.